As we got more information on it, Carl Pei is turning nothing into something. The Nothing Phone 2 is set to get an official announcement on July 11, and fans are excited. Well, while we wait, we have the GeekBench scores for the Nothing Phone 2 and its confirmed processor, the Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1. In case you're not up to date on this phone, this is the next iteration in the Nothing Phone series. We know that this phone is going to share several similarities with the first iteration and have some differences. The LED interface is slightly different. The selfie camera will be in a different spot on the screen. We expect several changes to the components on the back, and nothing else will be very different. To name a few, here are the GeekBench scores for the Nothing Phone 2. There were 2 tests run on the device, and they produced very similar results. For the first test, we're looking at 1733 for the single-core score and 4207 for the multi-core score. The second test gave scores of 1739 and 3983 respectively. There's nothing really significant about the scores, but one thing to remember is that the benchmark numbers aren't a proper indicator of software performance. Day-to-day usage is a much more accurate way. The significant thing about the GeekBench scores is that they confirm what processor the Nothing Phone 2 will have. This should come as no surprise, as we've seen rumors about the chip this phone will rock. Now, comparing those scores to the best of the best Android device, the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra, where does the Phone 2 size up? Well, we just ran a GeekBench benchmark test on our S23 Ultra here at eSIM Studios, and our test scored 1744 points on the single core test and 3,136 points on the multi-core test. Now, we had to do a double take. Is this right? If these numbers look correct, the performance of the Nothing Phone 2 will be able to hang with the big boys on top of the Android world. It is possible that they are receiving a modified overclock processor, specially designed for nothing, and the Phone 2, just like Samsung, getting a special overclocked version of the latest Snapdragon processor designed for the S23 Ultra, which may or may not make sense because the Snapdragon 8 Gen Plus 1 was basically an overclocked version of the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1. We simply could not believe what we observed and tested our S23 Ultra again. On the second run, we scored 1129 on the single core test and 4,471 on the multi-core score. The second test, we cleared all our apps, cached and restarted the device, and then ran the test. That might be the reason for improvement in scores. This is absolutely amazing test results for nothing. They should be very proud of what is unfolding before our very eyes in this device. How can this last-gen processor meet and beat performance on the latest and greatest Snapdragon processor found in our Galaxy S23 Ultra? We will just have to wait and see what is mentioned at the launch of the Phone 2 for further details. They took a year-old processor and tweaked it just enough to beat this year's flagship Snapdragon processor. The benchmark shows that the Nothing Phone 2 will use the flagship grade Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1. That's not the fastest chip on market, but there are a few things to note. Firstly, this chip is still very powerful. It's a recent flagship processor, so you're gonna get good performance. Second, the Snapdragon 8 Gen Plus 1 gets phenomenal battery life and stays cool under heavy loads. Thirdly, the Nothing Phone 1 was able to get really smooth performance while using a mid-range processor. This all came down to software optimization. So there's no doubt that Nothing will be able to optimize the software to use this more powerful chip to its potential. Don't be safe to subscribe to our eSIM Studios YouTube channel for all the latest and greatest news and reviews in the tech world. We will be purchasing a Nothing Phone 2 and will be the official home of the Nothing Phone 2.